Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. This morning, we're going to explore the second of three passages of the Prahe Vajra's meditation classic, the Cuckoo's Song of Awareness. It is drawn from the PDF, Prahe Vajra's 5 treatises that can be found, that is available for free download. The so-called state of just as it is inexpressible, for all manifested forms are ultimately self-perfected. The various theories of meditation and claims of meditation can seem quite befuddling until we peer at them through the metaphoric lens of neuroscience. Let's do that right now. There is a destructive myth that we must concentrate. The only part of our brain that concentrates is our medial prefrontal cortex. And when overworked, it causes us to present with symptoms of depression, and no less triggering our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. Fortunately, neither the amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex constitute the entirety of our central nervous system. Consider our spinal cord. The fancy term is our autonomic nervous system, and when we cooperate with it vulnerably, it can calm the anger and anxiety of our amygdala and gently stimulate the anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy and compassion and cooperation. There is a myth, a very ugly myth, that we are to concentrate on just one thing or no thing. However, neuroscience teaches us that as we inhale, we are wired to automatically access the middle bit of our spinal cord, known as the sympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way, to help us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, including the full spectrum of human emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. There's some people, especially people who are keen on manifesting, who will tell us that we must be positive and ignore the negative at all costs. But instead, the Buddha taught that we are to be vulnerable to whatever we perceive, emote, intend, reason, recall, or imagine. Whether that which we notice is external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, glorious or grotesque. There are some who are so caught up not only in their rigidity, but in their controlling tendencies, that they insist we must actively analyze in dependence upon our dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. not only does it create the same problems of depression and anxiety and aggression, but it cuts us off from the real wisdom. The real wisdom is the wisdom of letting go. Here's how that works. Every time we exhale, we've evolved to automatically access the end bits of our spinal cord, like the bookends on a shelf, not quite full. The fancy name for this is the parasympathetic nervous system. And it has evolved to help us to physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and even less defining, which can contribute to a sense of freedom, a sense of liberation. Every complex life form has evolved to think symbolically. Therefore, as humans, it should not surprise us that each of our cultures contains languages with figures of speech. How could that be applied to meditation? Every time we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Now, a simile is only as useful as it is relatable. So, the question is, what is a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? Well, how about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn? Which, although could look tantalizing to the eye, feels non-graspable to the hand. Having reviewed the basics of mindfulness and meditation, let's return to this morning's lesson text. The so-called state of just as it is inexpressible. So our job is not to write poems or doctrinal dissertations about what we perceive or emote or intend or reason or recall or imagine. We just notice it. The easiest way to do that Oopsie, wrong button. Let's try that again. The easiest way to do that, the easiest way to practice the mindfulness, which is simply noticing mind's antics, is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this each time we feel our lungs inhale, each time we feel our chest swell. Similarly, the most efficient way to practice the meditation, which is simply relaxing into the non-graspable nature of mind, is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease each time we feel our chest sink. The so-called state of just as it is inexpressible, for all manifested forms are ultimately self-perfected. But what does that mean, self-perfected? What it means is whatever ugliness or we see, whatever discord we hear, whatever pain we feel, whatever disgusting thing we taste, whatever foul scent we sample, It's not our job to push it away or tell ourselves stories about it. It's enough to simply notice and relax. Relaxing doesn't make stuff go away, but it helps us to cope. It helps to free us from our survival instinct run amok of forever shoving and fleeing. The same can be true for pleasurable things. Beautiful sights, melodious sounds, pleasurable sensations, delicious tastes, fragrant scents. We notice them as we breathe in, we relax as we breathe out, without having to believe anything or convince ourselves of anything. Automatically we let go, even just a little bit. And that breaks the spell of endlessly chasing and reaching and grasping. And so the same antidote of noticing and releasing is applied to all we perceive, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the pleasurable, the painful, and the inert. And so the self-perfection here is that just by passively cooperating with our autonomic nervous system, enlightenment takes care of itself. In the penultimate passage, the second to the last passage of the Buddha's discourse on the four bases of mindfulness, he promised that it is possible to master his path in as little as a week. That's not for special people living in a special place in a special time. It's for everyday slobs like me and you. Having completed our opening lesson, we can now shift gears. It is Yoda Monday morning. Welcome to Yoda's Monday morning. I forgot what I'm supposed to say. Please bear with me. Okay. It is Yoda Monday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. After about 30 seconds of housekeeping, this is the Dzogchen Sende Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I could become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to meditate like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this morning's live stream, let's meditate. To keep track of 16 inhalations, we can touch the tip of our right thumb to the creases and tips of our 4 fingers. That should take less than 2 minutes. By keeping track of 16 sets of 16 inhalations each by using the creases and tips of our left hand's 4 fingers, we can count up to 20 minutes, give or take. If you wish to sit for an hour, then you'll probably want to gather 3 collections of 16 sets of 16 inhalations each. And to keep track of that, it's simple. We can rest the lower knuckle of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. This is how we keep track of our first collection of 256 inhalations. To keep track of the second collection, we move the tip of our left index finger to our right index finger's second knuckle. And to keep track of a third collection of 256 inhalations, we would slide our fingers so that we would slide the tip of our left index finger so that it touches the third knuckle of our right index finger, all the while keeping our hands palms up in our lap. If you are prone to arthritis, you may wish to adjust your legs every 15 minutes or so. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions about once every 5 minutes or so. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 and a quarter hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.